Let's pivot to acting. How did your career in investing contributed to your acting career, and how did you even get into acting?
Well, those are two very good and very different questions. So, how did I get into it? Well, my son is an actor, so anybody who knows me, they know Anzi is everything to me, and he's been an actor. That's the only thing he's really been interested in. He's 24 now. He's a proper actor. He's in the union and all that other kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But how I got into it is I was always the reader for him. So when he does an audition, I'm the other voice off camera. And I was doing a very poor job of that.
Hmm.
And I figured I needed to get better to help him. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm not giving him anything. I'm just reading like a computer. I don't have any education in this. It's something you can learn. There's a story and an arc and character development. That led to a few acting classes. Once I started going into acting classes, I was encouraged, which was great, by all my very young and very enthusiastic classmates. So I started submitting on my wife's birthday, March 11th of 2024. That was the start.
And you've gotten a lot of experiences since then. You've been in TV, film, theater, new media, even a dance one,
Yeah,
and
it's uh,
modeling.
yeah. I think this is a good attitude in general in life is to say yes.
Mhm.
If you read a lot of these, influencers on LinkedIn, they tell you you have to say no more. But I think if you want to experience new things, you have to say yes more. You
Mm.
you did ask another question about how my
Yeah.
investment life has influenced my acting, and some of the things I've learned in acting class are very instructive.
Yeah.
And the first thing I learned was just say the lines. Don't try to do anything. It's all in the text. But the second thing was there is no character written that is more interesting than a real human.
Hmm.
And everything in your life, your experience, you bring that to your character. And
Okay.
that's a very easy thing for me. So when I'm reading breakdowns,
Yeah.
it's lawyer, doctor, politician, investment banker. I'm like, well, I know these people. So it's not a big leap for me to read the lines. I just had an audition last night. I did it as a bad lawyer. I know bad lawyers.
What about mafia?
Yeah, there is a lot of mafia. I do have a lot of auditions for a very quintessential type of New Yorker,
Hmm.
which really doesn't exist. So guys that talk like this, hey, let me ask you a question, where we going? Those I get a lot of those kind of auditions, which is pretty funny.
Hmm. So you're saying you can reach in or reach down and search for some kind of connection with the character. What if it's really far out there? Let's say if it's a really violent criminal, how do you play that character?
I'm a bit lucky. I don't really reach for those characters. So when I see a breakdown and it's like homeless crack addict, no, I'm not going to do that. Serial killer, no. Maybe there's something in me that could relate to that, but I find it very hard
Mm.
and it's just not that interesting or fun for me. The characters I'm reading for, they're they're pretty fun, even if they're bad guys. There's
Yeah.
a lot, in the media, not to get political, but the middle-aged white guys are all bad guys now. It's
Oh.
okay.
Mm.
I was just in a play where I was the mayor of New York. This character was not necessarily a bad guy. He was a conflicted guy.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I understand that pretty well. So those are the kind of things that I'll go out for. I won't go out for serial killer, trapeze artist, just some things that are just off the wall. Yeah.
Sure. And out of all the projects that you worked on, which one did you enjoy the most?
Because I start at the bottom, and I think it's great to start at the bottom of something, you learn a lot very quickly. I did a student film, and student films are all over the place. Some are great, others are not so great. And I did a student film, it's called Bacon and Eggs.
I
And
love that one.
yeah, it's just a 5-minute movie, but it's got a full arc, and it's got a plot you can follow. It's got characters you get to know, all in 5 minutes. I think the director Joshua was very efficient. I had a lot of fun on that set. We shot it
Mm.
in one day. I think the results are imminently watchable.
I
I think
liked
that's
it.
the one so far.
Yeah. And which one did you find most challenging or perhaps dislike?
Somebody reached out for background work. Now, again, I'm learning all of this. So background work isn't really credited work as acting.
Yeah.
It's It's just a paycheck. How little it is, but it's a paycheck. So somebody reached out and said, "Oh, Sirens, which is a big Netflix show, needs background people." So I said, "Okay." They needed you for 2 days for this gala, and
Wow.
I got fitted for a tuxedo and everything, but it was a miserable experience. It was 14 hours of
That's a long
standing
time.
around in a tuxedo.
Wow.
It was not a great experience.
White tuxedo.
I was in a white tuxedo, which also raises the
Hilarious.
paranoia level. Yeah, you can't eat. What are we gonna have for lunch? Spaghetti? Great idea. No. The other background actors were all very nice and welcoming and warm and everything. And I got to see a huge set. It was an
Mm.
amazing thing at Steiner Studios in Brooklyn, a 35,000 square foot home that they built on a set in Brooklyn. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, Julianne Moore is there. It's really cool. That's
Yeah.
great. But standing around 14 hours in a ill-fitting tuxedo, not so great. So that was so far my best and worst. And there's been everything in between too. I won't
Yeah.
want to discount that. It, it's been a ton of fun.
How do you find gigs? Oh.
I like to joke. I like to joke with my son. My son has an agent. His agent just sends him stuff and he auditions. For me, it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm constantly looking for work because I'm non-union. I'm still at the bottom, which is totally fine. I get my auditions from Backstage and Actors Access. I, there's no student films anymore, so
Mm.
I've leveled up from student films, but there's a lot of non-union work, which doesn't mean bad.
What's the difference between union, non-union?
If you're a union actor, you can only do union shows.
Okay.
So everything you see on TV is a union gig.
Really?
There may be maybe some non-union actors on those shows, but for the most part, most of those actors are going to be union actors. Even just somebody who shows up for one or two scenes
Hmm.
and gets killed off.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are going to be SAG actors,
Mm.
Screen Actors Guild actors.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's cool.
yeah. So if you would wave a magic wand, who would you want to work with?
Wow, there's some great talented people, and I really appreciate the old school New York actors.
Mm.
And I would put names that might not be on the run, but there's an actress, and she played the wife of Tony Soprano, Edie
Mm.
Falco. I just think she's such a great actress. Um, you know, People like that I would really love to work with. And she's done a lot of stage work. I prefer
Okay.
stage work over film work. Um, so, Al Pacino's, of course, because they all come from like this New York style of stage acting. If I could wave a magic wand, I'd get a small stage scene with those kind of actors. Yeah.
Hmm. What do you like about being on stage?
It's a lot like a team sport.
Hmm.
You don't want to let down your teammates. So you're preparing, and working together through rehearsals. But there's nothing that can simulate, they all say in football, there's nothing that simulates like live games. I feel that the same way. So I did a play
Hmm.
this summer, great play written by a very young playwright. It's live and things
Wow.
happen.
Yeah.
Stuff falls, things break, somebody misses a line. I just had a great experience doing that. Of course, I was paranoid and over prepared. Even with that, things are going to happen. And if you lean into those things, it can be a lot of fun. It's
Hmm.
unexpected for the actors, it's unexpected for the audience as well. Whereas when you're
Yeah.
shooting something for film or television, it's okay, we take a shot, we cut it. Take another
Hmm.
shot, we cut it. All right, we move the camera, we move the lights, 40 minutes later, we take another shot. Whereas a play, it's like, okay, curtain up at 8 o'clock and we go.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no stop, there's no pause, there's no cut. I like the tension that brings. I like the stakes.
Sure. And what about the audience energy? Does that feed into the performance?
Yeah, I did a staged reading on Monday and Tuesday. I played the mayor of New York City.
Yay.
Sure. Mayor Chip Weiler. Monday, it was a more subdued crowd. And Tuesday, it was just a very raucous crowd. They were just really laughing and really into it. After some lines in the play, they were like, boo. Just it was very interactive. And it was fun because at one point in the play, I addressed the crowd. I say, oh, my fellow New Yorkers, we're all struck with the tragedy of Hurricane Melvin, and somebody says something, and I say, but we are New Yorkers, and we'll make it through this. And then there's somebody, in the play that says, you didn't do anything. You were playing golf while we were getting flooded. And then somebody in the real audience was like, boo. And I was like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. That was not, that was not scripted. So those kind of things make it a lot of fun. Those kind of
Mm,
things really make it a lot of fun for me. Yeah.
mm. So no real hackles so far.
No, that may come. I think the book that I read by David Mamet about acting is really instructive for me. There's a lot of people have a lot of theories and ideas, but what David Mamet said is if you want to know if you're a good actor, go get on stage.
Yeah.
And I equate it a lot to sports. Like being on stage is a lot like sports. If you want to find out if you're a good basketball player, go to West 4th Street. There's a cage there. They'll tell you real quickly if you're good or not. And if you want to get better, go there every day.
Mm,
I feel like all of the audition work that I do is all training, and I'm
mm.
totally fine with it.